What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. I've wanted to make this one since December. I really enjoyed this group's first run. They were hungry and ready to fight for their spots. Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. When was the last time I made a video on any of these individuals? It's been a long ass time. The reason why I don't drift into this era and the current era is because not because I don't want to, I really do, but I don't want to burn through these ideas in such a short time. And the last time I made a video about this era of WWE was probably the Daniel Bryan one, which was about 2 months ago. I am interested in making videos about this time period, but like I said, only occasionally. Anyways, the Shield are one of the best groups in this decade. They're up there with the Bullet Club, the New Day, all those kinds of teams. But the most unique thing about the Shield is the 100% success rate. Now, I'm not one of those people that say, oh, if you won the world title, you're successful. But what I'm trying to say is that these three are one of the only groups that actually captured the world championship in WWE. And in Moxley's case, he captured it in AEW too. With that said, the Shield were three of my favorite guys in WWE during this time period, with Daniel Bryan. You could count on them to deliver on Raw or SmackDown, and they were WWE's workhorses throughout 2013 and 14. So right now, I assume you'll get the itch to watch some 6-man tags from this time period, maybe even play WWE 2K14, because you're about to witness the story of the Hounds of Justice, the Shield. Okay, for me to cover this one, let me give you some background as to how this group formed. As you may know, Dean Ambrose, also known as Jon Moxley, was a product of the Indies, most notably CZW. He got signed to the company in April of 2011, and as for Seth Rollins, he was also known as Tyler Black. He was a product of Ring of Honor, and he was arguably their top guy in 2010 before finally getting the call from Stanford. Roman Reigns was called Liaki, if I remember. I forgot. He signed with the WWE in 2010, and he was from the Samoan bloodline, so they clearly saw some potential in him. All three men were assigned to Florida Championship Wrestling, and the brightest star out of these three was... well, to be honest, I'm not really sure. Dean Ambrose got to wrestle CM Punk at his peak in 2011, and the Second City Saint praised the future champion, and it's a big deal that CM Punk actually went down to FCW to endorse him, because during that time period, there wasn't NXT and stuff like that. It was an untelevised thing, and he actually went down there to face him. Seth Rollins was the FCW champion, so they really saw something in him. And Roman Reigns, he was seen as a potential superstar in the future, so all three men were seen as prospects. Now, the first one to be rumored to get called up to the main roster was Dean. He was set to feud with Mick Foley, but plans were scrapped when Mick Foley failed the physical. As for Rollins and Reigns, Seth was the first NXT champion, and Roman was... I'm not sure, but I wish we'd seen this character on the main roster. He had confidence and he was a heel. He had a look of a superstar, and he wasn't even a superstar at this point. He was just a guy in NXT. He called himself the man, and he was putting himself over. But unfortunately, this gimmick would be scrapped. Now, heading into Survivor Series, CM Punk, and this was his idea, by the way, had this idea to pair three of the brightest stars in developmental. Originally, the writers wanted to pair Punk with Daniel Bryan and the freaking Big Show. Now, to me, that's like pairing Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and then The Undertaker, I guess. It's just an odd pairing. So, Punk tweaked this idea, and he thought, why not get some guys from developmental? And so he asked for Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Cassius Ohno. Well, he got Dean and Seth, but Cassius, nope. They preferred Roman Reigns, and he was like, sure, fine. And they were supposed to be CM Punk's henchmen too, but that never came to fruition. Anyways, at Survivor Series, I didn't expect this at all, and I don't think you did either. During the WWE Championship match, the trio rushed from the crowd, and they went straight after Ryback. They sent him through the announce table, and so they sent shockwaves throughout WWE. CM Punk retained the title due to this, and there wasn't any thought of this trio working with him at this point. It felt like they only had an issue with Ryback. Now, the funny thing about this debut was the fact that they were going to come out with riot shields in hand and turtlenecks. I'm not sure if it was this night or another, but in their first days on the main roster, they were going to come out looking like big boss man sons. Over the next couple of weeks, this trio would attack anyone that came near CM Punk, and would also attack Ryback. The following week, Michael Cole got the opportunity to interview the trio, and they denied having anything to do with CM Punk, and they let Cole and the whole world know that they work for each other, and they are a shield from injustice in WWE. They saved CM Punk because it was an injustice that he faced two men that he had already beaten. Roman Reigns let Cole know that when he wants to say something, he will. He's gonna say what he says whenever he wants. Dean said that they're about principles, honor, and like Seth said, they're a shield from injustice in WWE. The Miz began to suspect some sort of collusion between both parties, and meanwhile they attacked Team Hell No. This led to a match between the trio and Team Hell No and Ryback in a 6-man TLC match. At this point, the Shield had yet to have their first match on the main roster. As for that match, up to this point, 2012, I have yet to see anyone or any team have a much better debut. A classic match in their debut. I believe they were also teasing the sword. I remember they used to say they're going to bring the sword, and I'm not sure about this, but I feel like it was rumored to be Brock Lesnar. Anyways, the Shield went out there and destroyed themselves in order to get the victory. We heard Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta for the first time, and Ryback was a freaking badass. I remember thinking this guy was going to win the title sooner or later. During the match, he single-handedly dismantled the Shield. He was just throwing Dean and Seth around, especially Seth, and the Shield were wise, sticking together as a team throughout the match. And in the end, they buried Kane under some rubble, and they isolated Daniel Bryan and slammed him through a table to win their first match. Now, in WWE, there's only one debuting star that had a match as good as this one, and that's Shinsuke Nakamura. That's what I think. Maybe there is someone else commented down below, someone that had a classic match in their debut. Following this matchup, the Shield continued to help CM Punk retain his title. They once again cost Ryback a TLC match against Punk, and now that Ryback was out of the way, they focused on taking out the next challenger, The Rock. Mr. McMahon then got involved and he threatened to strip CM Punk of the title if the Shield interfered at the Rumble. Guess what? They did. In the dark. CM Punk ended up retaining the title due to this, but Vince came out and he stripped him of the title. The Rock didn't want the title this way and he wanted the match to be restarted, and he ended up winning because he had all the momentum in the world. And a little side note, this was one of the weirdest pictures I've ever seen during that time period. Never did I imagine Rock holding the spinner belt. Anyways, the Shield decided to focus on WWE's 3 biggest dogs, but before they did, they jumped Brad Maddox for snitching on them, I guess. If I remember correctly, he snitched on CM Punk. He claimed that Punk and Paul Heyman were working with the Shield, and so that's why they attacked him. Anyways, Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus were going to be the ones who faced the trio at the Elimination Chamber. Those 3 surrounded the Shield and sent them running. But then the rest of the locker room blocked their exits, and they were going to get an ass kicking. They brawled, and the babyfaces stood tall. Now, regarding this matchup, I remember thinking in my head, gee, Cena needs to look strong heading into WrestleMania, so they're going to give him the W. But the Shield refused to lose. Initially, the plan was for Cena to roll through them, but they had other plans. They barged into the office and told them straight up, we ain't losing. They did what Nexus couldn't do. Refused to back down to John Cena. Now, was I shocked at this result? Hell yeah. Cena was basically unstoppable heading into WrestleMania, because 2012, in his eyes, was the worst year of his career. So, right when 2013 rolled along, he was winning and winning and winning and winning. There was no doubt in my mind that he was winning this one. This victory gave the trio some much-needed momentum heading into WrestleMania, as their next challengers were Randy Orton, Sheamus, and The Big Show, who was a heel. Now, in the weeks leading to the event, The Big Show wasn't really keen on teaming up with those two, but after he himself was attacked, he decided to unite with his enemies to combat the group. As for the match at WrestleMania, I once again doubted the Shield. I didn't think they were going to win, but once again, I was wrong. And shockingly, to me, probably not to you, they won. And a little side note, Big Show turned on both of his partners after the match. So at this point, WWE had something really good in their hands. It's up to them whether or not to destroy. The next night on Raw, The Undertaker made an appearance, and he was here to address the fans. The Shield decided to make their presence felt, but then Team Hell No made the save, and they sent the group out of there. Now, if I saw this picture in 2010, I'd be confused as hell. For a few reasons. 1, Daniel Bryan has a beard. 2, Kane's wearing a mask. And 4, The Undertaker has no hair on his head. Anyways, The Undertaker at this point was considering another run, and he was interested in working with the Shield. The Shield ended up facing Team Hell No and The Undertaker on the April 22nd, 2013 episode of Raw. In London, the Shield descended from the sky in a damn helicopter. It was quite bizarre seeing The Undertaker wrestling on Raw at this point, and it was like he was exclusively on WrestleMania. Anyways, the Shield ganged up on Team Hell No beforehand, and now they were after Taker. As for the match, I remember really enjoying it back in 2013, but then again, what did I expect? Brothers of Destruction, Daniel Bryan, and the Shield in one match. As for the result, Seth and Roman brawled on the outside with the Brothers of Destruction, and Dean managed to roll up Bryan to remain undefeated. Despite the victory, this thing wasn't over just yet. On that week's SmackDown, Dean Ambrose went one-on-one with The Undertaker. It just shows how much of a big deal the trio were. I mean, how many times did The Undertaker wrestle on Raw or SmackDown during this time period? Anyways, Dean looked pretty comfortable in there, and obviously he didn't win because of the DQ, but the Shield managed to stand tall over The Undertaker. The Dead Man was kicking their asses in the beginning, but Roman from out of nowhere speared him through the barricade. The Shield then grabbed The Undertaker and performed a triple powerbomb through the announce table. Unfortunately, though, The Undertaker suffered an injury during this segment, and this canceled any plans for a SummerSlam match between Taker and the Shield. He had to undergo surgery on his shoulder, and plus, I believe this was the moment he suffered an injury, so SummerSlam wasn't going to happen regardless. If he wasn't injured, he was in surgery for his shoulder anyways. Following this, the Shield finally focused on championship gold. Dean was looking for singles gold, particularly the United States Championship, and he beat Kofi Kingston clean to capture the gold at Extreme Rules. This was also when Dean cussed in front of the camera and the production truck forced him to apologize like a little kid. Here's a quote he said on the StarCast back in November. I remember hearing this and laughing my ass off because of how ridiculous it sounded. "I don't think that was the right kind of apology for the push we want to give you." Oh, shut the hell up, please. He apologized, just move on. He didn't name the ones who said this, but I was reminded of the story when I saw this as I was making the video. Later that night, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns beat Team Hell No to capture their first tag team championships, and now it was a guarantee that this trio were gonna succeed. Following Extreme Rules, the Shield were still a force to be reckoned with. They hadn't lost a 6-man tag clean up to this point, but that would all change on the June 14th, 2013 episode of SmackDown. On that night, Daniel Bryan was hell-bent on beating the Shield in order to prove he isn't the weak link of Team Hell No. Now, about the match itself, it was awesome. Daniel Bryan was on something that night because his performance was ridiculously awesome. Orton and Kane assisted Bryan, and it was the leader of the Yes Movement who made Seth Rollins tap out to end the undefeated streak. It is definitely one of my favorite matches and moments in the history of SmackDown. It was fun, electric, although the crowd sounded like a blow dryer, and it felt redeeming to see this unfold. You know, it was a matter of time before the Shield were gonna lose, because around this time period, Daniel Bryan was catching up to them. Now, following this match, the Shield began to lose more 6-man tags, and a little side note, at the time, I used to see Dean as the unofficial leader. I never for a second thought Seth was like the leader or the architect until later on. They feuded with the Usos for a bit in this match. I believe this match put the Usos on the map, because before this, they weren't even getting much television time to show off what they were capable of. And this reminds me, I guess we might need to see a Rise of Usos video in the future. Anyways, the Shield steered past them, and following this, they were Triple H's hired guns. They protected the Authority from guys like the Big Show and Daniel Bryan, and since they were a part of this newly formed Authority, they started a feud with the Rhodes. The Rhodes brothers had lost their jobs, and they only had one more chance to get them back. That was if they beat the Shield at Battleground. Now this match, it was tremendous. I really love the story. Cody and Dustin had to win. Their backs were against the wall and they had to come up with a positive result. And Dean Ambrose was at ringside, so they were at a total disadvantage. I was one of the people at that time that thought Cody was going to get some kind of title run during that time period. That's a story for another time. Anyways, the crowd was really into it, and that really enhanced the quality of the match. The moment Cody had Seth in position for Crossroads, the crowd erupted, and when he hit it, it got him the victory. Now, since Cody and Dustin won this match, they got a title match against the Shield on the October 14, 2013 episode of Raw. This one, once again, he delivered. There was no DQ, and the Authority demanded that the Shield finish it. It was a wild brawl, and despite Dean getting involved, the Rhodes brothers was still in it. They managed to hang him there, and then the Big Show interfered and KO'd all 3 members of the Shield, which gave Goldust and Cody Rhodes the victory and the gold. Also, I barely remember this, but why the hell was the Big Show doing the yes chant? Like I said, I suggest you go watch one of those matches, the Rhodes brothers against the Shield. One of those, you should go watch them if you never have. They're pretty amazing. Following this program, there was dissension within the Shield, but before that happened, Roman Reigns at Survivor Series single-handedly eliminated 4 men. The next night on Raw, Roman Reigns from out of nowhere speared CM Punk, and the Shield performed the triple powerbomb, and there wasn't a reason for why they did this at the moment, but that would become apparent the following week when CM Punk called out the Authority. He assumed it was because he had insulted Stephanie and Triple H previously that the Shield decided to attack. Now, since he decided to open his mouth, he was going to face the Shield in a 3-on-1 handicap match. They were really confident. Rollins said that the Muay Thai nonsense wasn't going to work, and he isn't even going to last 5 minutes in the ring with him. About that, they lost in 12 minutes. The Shield miscommunicated with one another, and Reigns accidentally speared Dean. Punk capitalized on this, and he was victorious. Due to the victory, CM Punk tried rubbing salt into the wounds on the final Raw of 2013. He wanted to face one of the members of the Shield to know which one's the best, and Dean wasn't backing down, but Punk said that he wasn't even talking to him. He said that he had already beaten Dean half a dozen times, and he's referring to Roman and Seth. He asked Roman if he's the man, and then Seth himself issued the challenge. When Seth said that he was the best in the Shield, there was some sort of heat with Roman. Like, they were talking to each other, and they disagreed with one another. Like, I'm the best. No, I am. And look at Dean. He's the reject. He's the one that already lost to CM Punk a couple of times beforehand. Brad Maddox then came out. He booked CM Punk in a match against Seth Rollins. The Shield were itching to get involved during the match, but Seth refused to have them involved. He lost clean anyways. So at this point, CM Punk beat Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. All that was left was Roman Reigns. On Old School Raw, Roddy Piper tried tearing the Shield apart. He tried exposing the cracks within the Shield, and Seth claimed that Dean was a way better US champ than Piper ever was. Now about that title reign, I only remember a handful of title matches that Dean had, and I would have mentioned one of them if they actually stood out, to be honest. Anyways, Hot Rod said that neither Seth or Dean could beat Punk, but if Roman beats him later, doesn't that mean like Roman's better than both of them? A little side note, I believe the Shield was gonna split before WrestleMania, and it was Dean and Seth who were gonna turn on Roman, but they said that they weren't ready, and so they delayed it. Anyways, Roman claimed that he's gonna beat him tonight, and as for that match, Roman did beat CM Punk, but after Dean distracted him. Then Jake the Snake, after God knows how long, returned to the WWE. The New Age Outlaws were there, and what the? This just reminds me of the fact that the New Age Outlaws wrestled on Raw and SmackDown full time during this time period in 2014. Anyways, Jake pulled out Damian, and Dean was smiling. As for the Royal Rumble match, Roman Reigns broke Kane's record of the most eliminations with 12. He threw out guys such as Sheamus, Kevin Nash, Dolph Ziggler, El Torito, and even his own Shield brothers. He made it all the way to the end with Batista, and the fans were cheering him. The fans were chanting his name, Roman, Roman, and he nearly won this one, but Batista tossed him right out of there to get booed by the Pittsburgh crowd. Now, following the event, we finally got to witness the Wyatt family in the Shield in a matchup. Neither team wanted to play second fiddle to the other, and they wanted to settle this to find out who exactly was the best faction in WWE. The crowd went crazy every moment those two teams went face to face, but on this night, the Wyatt family backed off. As for their match at Elimination Chamber, I've heard many good things about this match, so I decided, you know what, let's watch it. I watched it a couple of weeks ago. I kind of regret not watching it earlier, because this was too good of a match to miss, but I did. It was chaotic, the atmosphere was spectacular, and the moment they clashed, like, that was an epic moment. One of the best six-man tags ever. The ending, though, and I have no memory of the results, honestly shocked me. First of all, the Wyatts isolated each member of the Shield, and when they did this to Roman, it got them the victory. I thought Roman was going to make a comeback and get distracted or something like that, but Bray actually dimmed his lights and beat him clean. Also, Dean during the match disappeared for no apparent reason, like he fought in the crowd and he didn't return. The Shield questioned this, but Dean stormed off. He didn't want to answer that question, but that wasn't it. On the March 3rd, 2014 episode of Raw, it was once again a memorable affair. The Shield and the Wyatt family, but this time, it was Seth Rollins, the architect, who bailed. He walked out on them because there was dissension within, and Dean and Roman weren't on the same page. Nonetheless, Roman and Dean tried salvaging this match, but in the end, Seth watched from a distance as the Shield was crumbling apart in front of his very eyes. Now, Seth was like the peacekeeper. He was like Roman and Dean's little brothers. Now he's had enough of this and he walked out. On that week's SmackDown, the Shield tried to patch things up by having a Shield summit, I guess. Seth didn't appear yet, and Dean said that he won't tolerate being lied to by someone he trusts. He called out the architect of the Shield, and when the architect came out, Roman let him know that whatever he's gonna say, like, it better be good. Seth said that it isn't a war between the Wyatts and them, it's a war between the Shield. Here's Seth's words, as a matter of fact. Look at you guys. For the first time in months, you're standing in the same rink. You're on the same page. You're seeing things eye to eye. Don't you get it? I'm proving my point. I'm already there. We can call this right now. We can walk and go our separate ways. Guess what? We'll be fine. We're all talented men. But you know what? What if fine isn't good enough? From the moment we came to WWE, we've been taking down walls. And if we stand together united, no one could touch us. Not the Wyatt family, not The Undertaker, not John Cena, no one. You know it, so let's do what we do. Let's be the Shield and take this place back. Now, Seth was on board with the Shield reuniting, but Dean wasn't feeling it. He shoved Seth twice before Roman came in and shoved Dean himself. Seth decided to do something that'll make him feel better, and he slapped the hell out of Ambrose. The architect of the Shield said that it felt great, and he asked Dean if he's got something to get out of his system. And Dean didn't retaliate with a slap. He retaliated with a right hand. Roman was just in the middle, and he was the calm and collected one. With this incident, though, it helped the Shield in the long run as they were back on the same page. They swallowed their pride, and they were united once again. At this point, the Shield began to get fed up with the authorities' orders, and they began to show some babyface tendencies, and they continued to trigger Kane. Corporate Kane forced the Shield to be on his side on that week's SmackDown, and just as they were going to jump the Big Show, they backed off. Big Show capitalized on this, and he won the match. Immediately afterwards, though, Kane tried chokeslamming Seth, but Roman speared the hell out of him. Kane, though, was willing to admit that things were out of control and that there could be detrimental consequences for those decisions made by both sides. Later that night, Kane called for the Shield to come out and gang up on Jerry Lawler, I guess. Now, the reason why he had an issue with Jerry Lawler was because he assumed he had something to do with occupying Raw last week with Daniel Bryan, something like that. Seth told Jerry that they're going to do what's best for business. They didn't surround Jerry Lawler, though. Instead, they surrounded Kane. They attacked him and hit the triple powerbomb, effectively turning face in the process. Due to the Shield going rogue, Kane and the New Age Outlaws attacked them. The Shield wanted to know what Triple H's stance was on this, and he didn't really think much, although that would change later on. They destroyed the Real Americans later that night, sending a message to the authority. At WrestleMania, the Hounds of Justice faced Kane and the New Age Outlaws. They went out there donning some face masks. As for the match, it ended really quickly. The Shield dismantled them in about 3 minutes to go 2-0 at WrestleMania. This match was basically the destruction of Attitude Era, guys. If you thought things were already great for the Shield, then you ain't seen nothing yet. The next night on Raw, Stephanie wanted both Kane and the Shield to patch things up and make sure Triple H captures the titles from Daniel Bryan. As for that match, the Shield interrupted, and to the announcers, their perspective, it seemed like they were here to destroy Daniel Bryan. But that clearly wasn't the case. The Shield instead wanted to fight the Authority. Triple H, though, just wanted things to be normal. The game told him to stand down, but neither side gave a damn. Once Triple H turned around, Roman speared the hell out of him in a brawl ensued. They got rid of everyone except for Triple H, and the trio surrounded the game, and Daniel Bryan needed the game to send the Authority away. Due to their conduct on Raw, Triple H retaliated by booking the Shield in a handicap match against every lower card heel, mid-card some for the main event. During that match, the Shield struggled to neutralize these guys as there was too many of them. And after they were laid out, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista came out to Evolution's music, and all of those guys left, and Evolution dished out an assault. The crowd was pretty silent as the Shield were getting pummeled. Evolution performed their finishers on each man, and Triple H told them to believe in Evolution before pedigreeing Roman Reigns. The Shield, though, weren't intimidated by Evolution, and so a match was made for Extreme Rules. The Hounds of Justice, the Shield against Evolution. Now, the funny part about this match is the fact that I never even thought this match was possible. I didn't think for a moment that the Shield were ever gonna face Evolution. As for the match itself, once again, the Shield in 6-man action, what do you expect? They're the masters of this match type. Evolution did a very great job in establishing the Shield as one of the best teams, and adapt or perish was the motto for Evolution. The Shield adapted and then some, as it was utter chaos. It was wild inside and outside the ring. Rollins was diving off stuff, Roman and Batista were going at it, and in the end, Roman speared Batista to win this one for the Shield. Now, since the Hounds of Justice won this match, Triple H was petty, so he decided to book Dean in a 20-man battle royal for the United States Championship. Dean managed to survive 18 men, but then Sheamus kicked his head off to capture the title. It wasn't enough. He was exhausted and he was beaten down from the previous night. His title reign ended at 351 days. Triple H then came out and he called the Shield lucky, stating that, you guys have been lucky for the past couple of weeks, but that luck ends tonight, because 1, Dean already lost the title, and 2, you're facing the Wyatts tonight. Now, about that Wyatt match, it didn't end well for the Shield as Evolution interfered and they lost. Immediately afterwards, Evolution attacked the Shield and they mocked them by performing the triple powerbomb, and to add insult to injury, they did the fist thing. The following week, the Shield cut one of their more memorable promos. Here are their words. Last week, you saw something you don't see very often, and you're not likely to see it again. In the future, you saw 3 members of the Shield laid out, flat out on their backs. Yeah, we got the crap kicked out of us, but it's cool. It's alright. We might go down, but we don't stay down. If you're keeping score at home, you'll find that we're up much more than we were down. Tonight, we're standing tall in this ring, and make no mistake about it, we want Evolution. This is Seth Rollins now. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. We are not running from Evolution. We're running to Evolution. And if they got any guts, if they're half the men that they think they are, they accept our challenge for a rematch, and we will run through Evolution. When they show up here tonight, we're going to hunt them down. They're good. You know what? Evolution is good. Let's not take this away from them. But you're not the Evolution you once were, because you can't evolve into what it takes to beat the Shield. This is Roman Reigns. A week ago, you victimized my brothers. A week ago, you pushed me, you bloodied me, you RKO'd me, you pedigreed me, and you triple powerbombed me. And all of that makes me realize, is that all you got? Because if it is, you've got a serious problem. You have a serious problem, and we're going to teach you to believe in the concept of payback. We're going to teach you to believe in the Shield, and me personally, I'm going to teach you visually to believe in me. The Shield then noticed Evolution arriving in a limo, and they sprinted to the parking lot, and they brawled. Eventually, the match was made for payback. The Shield versus Evolution in a 6-man elimination match. Oh, and it was no holds barred too. As for this one, it felt like a war. Batista was blue, and what was he thinking? The fans were chanting Blue Tista, and it was funny because he stood out from his partners. They were all wearing black, and he's the only one wearing blue in the entire match. The Shield were wearing black, Evolution were wearing black, and this guy's coming out here wearing blue. It was hilarious at the time. I'm gonna be honest. Anyways, the Shield proved that they were the now. They weren't the then, they adapted, and it was Evolution who perished. Seth Rollins was jumping off things, and I gained more respect for Batista because he was supposed to win the title during this run, but realizing what was best for business, he instead put over the stars of the future. The Shield got rid of Batista first and then Orton. Ambrose hit the original dirty deeds on Orton, and now it was the Shield and Triple H. Despite being eliminated, Randy Orton brought in the equalizer. The game blasted Dean Ambrose, but then Seth kicked him in midair, and Roman hit the spear to help the Shield go 2-0 against Evolution. It was a clean sweep. The Shield stood tall, and it felt like they were on top of the world. They've done it all as a faction. The next night on Raw, though, Batista quit, which meant Evolution was no more. He demanded a title shot against Daniel Bryan, but Hunter denied the request. He wanted Evolution to focus on the Shield, and as a result of this, Batista quit, and it brought us this picture. While he was walking to the back, Triple H said that Batista's gonna crawl back here when his movie fails. Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way, and it didn't fail. Later that night, the Shield walked down the stairs for Roman Reigns' match against Randy Orton. The trio spoke about the matchup from the previous night and how they adapted while Evolution perished. Then Triple H and Randy Orton came out. Seth noticed this and he brought out 2 chairs. In Triple H's words, They were so damn impactful to the climate of WWE. In case you haven't figured it out yet, what I do better than anybody is adapt. Last night was plan A, tonight plan B. There's always a plan B. And this moment is when everything changed. You could hear the fans shouting, "No!" And boom! Dean couldn't believe it. Seth then delivered several chair shots to Dean Ambrose, all while Reigns was laid out. The fans were booing while Triple H had a smile on his face, and Seth curb stomped Dean onto the chair. And that was the Shield. Randy Orton brutalized Roman with the chair, and the new trio stood tall as Raw went off the air. Damn, what a shocking moment. I remember this. Couldn't believe it. Everyone assumed it was going to be Dean that was going to turn on the Shield because he was French, basically. Now, about the Shield, some say they're overrated. What do you think? Are they overrated? Do I think they're overrated? No. I feel like they actually get the credit that they deserve because they were the workhorses of WWE from 2013 all the way up to June of 2014. They had amazing matches. They were good characters and stuff like that. And there's a reason why all these guys won the title eventually. Anyways, will I make a video on Seth and Dean's feud and all the reuniting of the Shield in 2017 and all that? Hell yeah, but right now I'm going to focus on some other things. So yeah, expect Shield Part 2, Dean and Seth's feud, all that kind of stuff, the Money in the Bank 2016 thing in the future. That's it for this video. Make sure you hit a curb stomp on the like button and perhaps a triple power bomb on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.